Hi there, and welcome to Wednesday night. It is Wednesday Q&A Wednesday. Facebook Live. It's just been one of those days. I'm gonna warn you that half my face right now, I can't feel it. I actually had some work done to my mouth today, so I feel really strange. It's been quite a day. So if I look kind of funny, yeah, I feel like a little bit like a hot mess. But anyhow, I definitely wanted to make sure that I got on here and did a little bit of answering some questions. I think it's kind of funny about this time of year. You know, we keep talking about what we're doing in the gym and the different types of exercise that we're working on. And so what I hear a lot is, I don't necessarily want to look like you or build some great big muscle. I just want to tone. And so let's talk a little bit about really quick what that means. Toning is not necessarily what we think it means. Toning actually refers to a firm body with a muscular definition and some shape. So your muscles don't tone. Okay, they don't actually firm up. They either grow or shrink, disintegrate, whatever you want to call it. They disappear without use. So toning is not what we think it is. So here's the funny thing. I just read an article today, and this is what really got to me. You know, we're still promoting something about doing really light weights and high reps. So if you just want to tone up and you don't want to bulk up, then what you need to do is you just need to use some really light weights. Here's the problem with that. When you use light weights and high reps, it doesn't put enough resistance or stress on the muscle to actually do anything. So keep in mind that in order to build anything or to create shape, you have to actually have what we call a progressive overload. So that means that for people who go to the gym and they're consistently using the 3 or the 5 pound weights, you're not, first of all, you might get a little bit out of that, especially in the beginning if you've never lifted before, because your body actually has to, it can tear down the muscle. Problem being is if you consistently continue to use those light weights, you're never actually continuing to build down your muscle or to break down your muscle. So in order to build muscle, here's what happens. And we'll talk a little bit more about this because, again, we're going to talk about the fact that you cannot get bulky, especially as women. There's a very small percentage of women who can actually get bulky when they lift, and it's like 1%. Like it's a ridiculously low amount. Most of us as women do not eat enough food, nor do we produce enough testosterone in order to get bulky. So bulky means something completely different. Now, if you build fat and continue to eat way more food than and put on fat on your body, yeah, you can look bulky, but it's the cupcakes that make you bulky, not the lifting weights. So, but I digress. And then I just lost my train of thought. So how you build muscle, how you build shape, right? Is that you actually lift heavy enough that it puts enough stress on the muscle that it creates tears, micro tears in the fibers. And what your body does is, as you give it the right ingredients afterwards and allow it to rest and recover, it builds a new layer of muscle over top of it. That's how we build muscle. Okay, so the issue is that first of all, think about this for a second. Hi, Brianna. Good to see you. You cannot tone to fat. Fat has no shape. So when people tell me I don't want to build muscle, I just want to tone, I have to giggle and think, what exactly are you going to tone to? Because fat has no shape. You have to build, it doesn't have to be a lot, but think about it. Everybody has a little bit of muscle on their body. You can't move, you can't do certain things. You couldn't pick anything up if you didn't have any muscle. So everybody has a certain amount of muscle. The problem is most people think that that's enough to give them shape, but it doesn't. The great thing is you can build a physique. Okay, so there's 2 things that you have to do to get the shape that most people want. I understand what people are asking for when they ask to tone, but there's 2 things that have to happen for that. Number 1, you actually have to build some muscle. You have to do some strength training. There's no amount of cardio that's going to build you a shape. It's just going to burn fat. But if you have no shape to begin with, that's why when you see people who have like no rear ends, they're going to have to build one, right? Because you can do enough cardio that you can burn that fat. But if you have no shape there, you're going to have to actually build some muscle to have that shape. So first step in having tone, or what most people are looking for, is you have to strength train, and then you do have to burn the fat around that so that you can actually show the shape of the muscle. That's what it is. Whether or not you want a lot or a little, that's totally up to you, but you cannot tone to fat. It just doesn't work. And plus there's such thing as skinny fat. So, we've talked a little bit about that weight is not necessarily what you're looking for or to become skinny, because there is such thing as skinny fat. There's some benefits to fat or to building muscle. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So keep in mind that if you start to get to the point as you're lifting weights that you're bigger than you truly desire, you can back off. But you can't build a shape without lifting some sort of progressive overload or getting heavier and heavier as you go, because your body actually adapts. And if you don't continuously put a heavier load on it, your body won't build any larger. So keep that in mind. So there's no such thing as toning. If you want some shape, you actually have to build a little bit of muscle. And the great thing is, you can actually determine what shape you want. We talked about in the past that you cannot spot reduce. You can't choose where the fat comes off. However, you can spot build. So whether or not you have specific areas that are your strengths and that look good, and maybe some areas that aren't, sometimes we can work on camouflaging that a little bit. Case in point, if you don't have a waist, we can build a little bit wider shoulders and some lats, and it actually creates the look of a waist. So it's kind of the what not to wear of the bodybuilding world. We can actually create a physique. So keep that in mind. So for those of you who think that having muscle isn't important, again, for some odd reason, we've really gotten off on this whole, I'm going to just get too big. And those women that are bodybuilding, the professionals, dude, they're taking stuff. So don't think think about what I do. I eat a lot of food. And I lift really heavy to build what I have. And it's taken me a couple years to get to where I'm at. So again, especially if you're new, you are not going to build overnight. It's just not going to happen. But there's some significant benefits to building muscle. I get a lot of women and men in their 60s whose doctors have told them, you've got to get in and build some core strength. Okay. That's building muscle. We have a little bit of superficial muscle when it comes to our core, but we also have some deep core stabilizers that it's necessary. And what that gives us is our balance. So you think about someone, maybe your grandparents who are older, and they're negotiating and navigating stairs, and maybe they're carrying the groceries up the stairs. That requires core strength for balance. And people don't think about that until they get to the point where they're either losing it or their doctor tells them that they're going to become immobile, right? As if they don't do something about it. That's where a good majority of people's back pain comes from, is just the core strength in their body is unable to support the spine. So if you're having any of those issues, you might need to build some muscle. Also keep in mind as we get older that at some point without that muscle, and again, we do become immobile, our quality of life goes down. So I have absolutely no intentions of slowing down until I die, whenever that is. I'm going to make sure that however old I live to be, that I can still have a great quality of life and be independent. That is my goal. So keep that in mind. There's definitely some necessity to have some muscle, but think about some other benefits of having at least a little bit of muscle. It actually raises your metabolism. Your body looks at muscle as an expensive option. It takes more calories to keep it. So when you have more muscle, you actually have to eat more food. I know that does not sound horrible. Of course, you can't just eat junk, but this raises your metabolism, and not just when you do the activity like cardio does. When you have more muscle, it actually raises your metabolism around the clock, even while you sleep. It helps you to also burn fat. New muscle is a natural fat burner. So, I don't see a downside to that. If you are trying to get a leaner body, build more muscle. It works on multiple levels for that. Also, strength. I know that's duh, right? Yeah, duh. I actually started strength training just because I finally switched my goals from losing weight to just wanting to get stronger. How great is it to be able to do more, lift more? Sorry about that. I know I just had some poor strength there. So unfortunately I'm having to use data, but I'm jumping back on because I want to make sure I get to finish talking about this. So, strength is up. I don't see a problem with that. Also, again, it builds shape. You can actually determine what your shape is by the muscle that you choose to build. So your physique is dependent upon that. One of the biggest ones that I like to work with especially when I'm working with someone new, is that, when you start to strength train, self-confidence is through the roof. When I was a bigger woman, I'd sneak into the gym in baggy clothing, and I'd do my 30 minutes of cardio and I'd slink back out. I had absolutely no self-confidence. Now when I walk into the gym, first of all, I know how to use all the equipment, which is a huge confidence builder. But I can walk in any gym and use the equipment. And I can walk right over to where all the boys are in the free weights and kind of do my little, are you using that? Then how about you move? So self-confidence is incredible. And not just in the gym, it builds self-confidence in your jobs and your relationships. You can also empower other people by how you feel and the amount of self-confidence that you can help give to them. So that's what I love about my job. My job is not just to help people live a healthier lifestyle and learn how to change their lifestyle, but also to empower them to live a better, healthier, and wow, when you feel good about yourself, that's a pretty incredible thing. So, we talked a little bit about strength and what muscle can do for you. And how about just posture? Posture is huge. If you don't have good muscle or good muscle tone, your posture can be, you can actually look leaner when your posture is good. And considering, for a long time I had not only really bad posture, but being so large of a woman at one point, that's done some incredibly, I have some chronic damage done to my back. So building muscle helps me maintain my posture, and also my doctor keeps asking me what would happen if I would stop lifting because of some of the issues that I have. And I keep telling him that, I would probably be disabled at this point because my body wouldn't be able to hold itself up. My spine's got some significant issues. So my son also brought up one of advantage that, I think about, but I just didn't think about this evening, that, for a lot of my ladies that are starting to burn fat, and sometimes we have a little bit of excess skin going on as we burn that fat, that muscle can help to fill up the fat. How about triceps? Triceps are one of those areas that as women, the estrogen tends to deposit body fat there. As you burn that, there's a little bit of excess skin. Some of us call those bat wings, whatever you want to call them, bingo arms. Fill that skin up with muscle. It gives it shape. It gives it, it looks incredible. So, there's definitely some great things that come for strength training. I think it's really gotten a bad rap with, what people think about it. But it makes you feel amazing. Strength training changed my life. So, and if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer it. I apologize for the quick pause in my feed just because of my internet, but we're here. I just want to answer questions every week. I want to make sure that everybody understands how health really works. The gimmicks are out there, and even though it's February, I'm just hearing the craziest things that people are trying. So definitely want to make sure that people understand how your body works. It's actually science. I like to work with formulas. If you know where you are and what you're doing, because you're tracking it, if something isn't working, we change a variable. It makes it not a guessing game. I tried that for years. It doesn't work. So, I want to educate everybody. And so if you have questions, that Wednesday night's Q&A Wednesday. I'm here every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm home tonight. Just had some weird things happen, but I'm definitely hopping on and making sure that everybody gets a chance to say hey and answer any questions that you have. So have an incredible evening. I've got some people are hopping on and they're at the gym and they're working out, and that's great. There's the little thumbs up from me. Again, if half my face looks like it's off, it's because it's still numb. We'll go back and we'll get that stuff taken care of. But have an incredible evening. It's February. What an awesome... I'm ready for winter to be over, but I'm super excited for what 2017 is bringing. So keep going, you guys. You've got this. It takes time, but you'll get there. Have a great night.